Hey guys, how's it going? We're back. I hope everyone's weekend was great. This week, I thought the topic would be TV shows. Kind of curious what you guys been watching. So I thought I would share what I've been watching. I've had quite a huge list, and for the most part, they've been pretty good. I got like a couple of shows that I'm still like unsure about. The first one I guess would be The Penguin. The Penguin is a new show that started up not too long ago. It's got, I think it's on episode 5 now, and it is amazing. I love it. It's very good. At the time of recording this, because I record this the day before, so it's Saturday night. At that time, I will have not watched the new one because I watched the new one on Sundays. The last one was so good. It was so fucking good. If you've been watching it, it did a lot of backstory on the girl that he betrayed, and he basically betrays her again. But it was a lot of how she became, and yeah, it's so good. One thing to like kind of know is that from the way I've been seeing it, it does seem to be more of him before Batman, like before he became what he became in Batman. So yeah, and Colin Farrell is he's Penguin, and it's crazy. Like if you did not know that already, you would have never guessed. You would have never fucking guessed it was Colin Farrell. He looks so different, and he doesn't even sound like himself. Like he looks different, he sounds different, and yeah, he does an amazing Penguin. Yeah. It's funny because when I think of casting the Penguin, Colin doesn't come to mind, but now I can't imagine a better person doing the Penguin aside from Danny DeVito, of course. But we're talking like TV series, nowadays Penguin, and yeah, it's just he does really good. Yeah. So, highly suggest if you haven't been watching it. But um, I got impatient. I was like, oh, I'm going to wait till all the episodes are out and then I'll binge it. But then I ended up in a rut of having nothing new to watch. Like, I always watch like these old shows that I re-binge, like X-Files and all that. But I wanted something like fresh and new. And it was really the only one. I've got a couple in the list for us today, but yeah, at that time I really hadn't been watching anything like totally new. If you want to like binge it, I guess wait a couple of months, and then that's probably when the season will end. I imagine it's going to be more like a 10 episode season, although if I'm not mistaken, it's a mini series, I think. And a mini series is usually just one season. So I don't know. Don't quote me on that one, but for some reason I recall reading mini series on like the bio of the Penguin. So the next show I've been watching is also a new one. It started around the time that the Penguin started, so it's just as new as the Penguin, more or less. And it's called High Potential. And it is pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to do it justice on the bio, but basically it's about this single mom. She's got a pretty high IQ. And she uses that IQ to help solve crimes for the city's police station, and at this time in the series, I feel like a little romance is gonna start up with like the detective she's working with. They are they're not at that stage themselves, you know, like she is just there for a job, and he kind of starts off being annoyed by her, and I feel like he tolerates her now but is still kind of annoyed at her. And yeah, so like they're kind of like just starting a friendship up. But you know, I've watched enough, you know, enough action type shows that have romances. Like, look at X-Files, how long it took them to fucking get together. And then Smallville, that could be another one, like how long it took them to get together, you know? Like, yeah, I give it, you know, if the show lasts many seasons, I give it like maybe they'll be together in season 3 or something. But I'm calling it now. But yeah, that one's a pretty good show. And what kind of has me hooked right now is the side story. So the side story is that the reason she's a single mom is because dad vanished, but not in the way you think, right? Everyone around her thinks that he, you know, went to get milk, never came back, but she's convinced that something happened to him. And this was years ago. And it's starting to look like that is accurate. She's got, you know, basically her deal, because they wanted her to be a part of the police team to help them solve crimes. And her deal was, I'll work for you if you dig into my ex's, you know, like they weren't even ex, right? Like he just vanished, right? They were together, he vanished. But it was more, if you dig into this guy to find out what happened, you know, like I'm pretty certain it's gonna come back that he's dead. It's been years that he's been gone. I really hope it's not that they do find him and he turns out he did go to the store, buy milk, and took off. Like, that would suck. That would totally suck. But yeah. So, pretty good story. And yeah, like I said, the crimes, it's got a humor element. So yeah, there is that. But definitely, I think what keeps me involved is wanting to find out the story on why her, you know, boyfriend or husband just vanished. So the next one, and this is one of the ones I'm kind of deciding if I like it, but it's called Murder in a Small Town. And I'll fully admit, one of my main reasons for watching it was because Kristen Crook was going to be in it, or is in it. And I've watched a lot of her shows. She was Lana in Smallville. And she's been in some small little TV series since then. And they've all been okay. Like, let's be real, Smallville was her big one. And after that, you know, I did like her in Beauty and the Beast. I don't know if you guys knew that there was a TV series that started up again after the original Beauty and the Beast. But she was in that and she did a great job in that one. And then they've been kind of mediocre afterwards, but you know, so I thought I'd give this one a try. It's not bad. So the main guy is Rossif Sutherland, and yes, I looked into him. I'm like, are you like relation to Donald and Kiefer? He is. He's Kiefer's brother. Donald is his dad. Rest in peace. For those that don't know, Donald passed away like back in June. But yeah, he is one of 5 of Donald's children. So yes, there is relation there. And he is not a bad actor. Not bad. But the show kind of moves a little slowly. And Kristen, she kind of plays like a love interest. She's like a librarian in the show, and he's like a detective, you know. And yes, I watch a lot of detective type shows. But yeah, so that's it there. Another kind of solve crimes around this small town. And yeah, so there is like they kind of got a relationship going on right now, and it's a show that isn't bad, but you don't exactly wait for that day every week to show up to watch it, you know? Like by the time I watch the next episode, like a couple of weeks has usually gone by. I usually have like 2 episodes to watch of it. Yeah, which a lot of the time would mean nothing. Sometimes I just like to binge shows. But I will say in this case, it's really just that I'm not like super waiting, you know? Not like the Penguin. The Penguin, I actually like wait. I hate that I'm not binging the Penguin. I hate that I'm so interested that I wait full weeks for episodes. Because that's why I like to binge, right? Yeah. Because I'm impatient. I don't like waiting full weeks. But with the Penguin, I'm just so into it. So the next one is one that I've been kind of watching for a while. It's not super new, but it is newish. I think it started up like a year ago, and it's called Tracker. It's got Justin Hartley in it. Really great actor. He basically plays this lone wolf bounty hunter, and again, this is one of those shows that has me hooked by like the side story. So while he's doing his, every episode of that certain bounty hunter activity, there's always the family side of things, a lot to do with his dad. And yeah, there's like a little mystery there that's kind of, being solved piece by piece. The next one is Lincoln Lawyer. This is one I just started a couple of days ago. It's got 3 seasons, I guess, so I'm a little late to the game with Lincoln Lawyer. And I was interested in it because when I first saw it, and I'm like, wait a sec, wasn't there a movie? I'd remembered watching a movie, Lincoln Lawyer, with, I believe it was Matthew McConaughey that played that character. And so I started watching this Lincoln Lawyer, and it's pretty good. The main star, I've definitely seen him in stuff before. I would literally have to get up, go to my computer to tell you his name, because his name is like 3 names. He's an actor that I've seen in stuff before, but I just can't remember his name ever. So yeah, maybe in the editing I'll just like put his name on the screen or something. And yeah, so Neve Campbell is also in it. I was actually surprised to see her in it. I didn't know she was in it ahead of time, but she is an actress that I watched a lot of when I was younger, because I watched, Party of Five, all the Scream movies. She was in Wild Things and some other stuff. Like she's a great actress. So yeah, she plays in that. She's not as many episodes as he is. She's kind of like half. She's like the first ex-wife of his. Yeah. So that should tell you, right? And yeah. So basically, how this show starts is a fellow friend of his, like a past friend he went to college with, who is also a lawyer, ends up getting murdered. It's, a lot of it was because of this very high profile case that he was working on. And it turns out that guy left his entire firm to this guy. So he goes from like not really having a client for like a year, because there's some personal stuff as well with him. Side story. And so he goes from that to having a bunch of cases. Like so many cases that he has to work out of his car, aka Lincoln Lawyer. So yeah, it's been pretty good. So far I've only watched the first season. So I'm a little behind still. I'm about to hit season 2 on that show. And it's really good. He hired a driver, and this driver was someone he was like defending in court, and I really like her as an actress. I don't think I've seen her in anything before, but she's very good. They both kind of, like, a bit of the side story here is that they're both addicts. You know, she had a drug problem, he has a drinking problem, and yeah, at this time, I haven't seen him like relapse. So he's been good. He's like going to meetings and stuff. And yeah, the closest I ever saw is he went into a bar for a case, like to talk to a client type deal. Actually, it wasn't to talk to a client. It was kind of like a get together for the guy that died, right? And so he went into the bar and he ordered a shot and a beer, and he just looked at it. And I never understand why people do that. Like, why? Like, one, waste of money, and two, what if you pick it up and drink it? Like, why would you put yourself in that situation? But that is Lincoln Lawyer. So now he's just got all these cases that he's working on, and yeah, yeah. And there's a bit of side story. I want to know more about his dad, honestly. There's been a couple of flashbacks, but it sounds like he really was like a daddy's boy and he's following in dad's footsteps. Dad was like a very, very good lawyer that a lot of people praised. And yeah, I just want to know more about his dad. Yeah. As far as the wives, because he's got two ex-wives in the show. Neve Campbell's the first wife, and they have a kid together. The kid's grown up, like 16 years old. Not super grown up, like out of the house, but old enough. And he's trying to get back together with her, and he wants to like have a family, right? And then there is the second ex-wife who actually works with him right now. They work together in the firm. So yeah, very interesting situation. Okay, so the next show would be Dr. Odyssey. Now, not gonna lie, Joshua Jackson is totally the reason I picked up this TV show. I love him. I watch all his shit. So this one was kind of a weird watch after him doing the role he did in Dr. Death. This is the second time he's playing a doctor in like a major TV series. And the last time he was a doctor that killed based on real life. There was a doctor that would use his practice to like kill patients. And it's a little weird him going from that role to this role. So basically Dr. Odyssey he's a doctor on like a cruise ship. So yeah, they're kind of out in the middle of nowhere and they've got all the stuff they need, but that is it. It's people taking vacations on this cruise ship. I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of boring. I am not gonna lie. I hate to say it. I love him as an actor, but I'm struggling to get into it. I really am. I keep watching it just to see where it goes, but I'm just gonna say, if this show gets a season 2, it's solely because of Joshua Jackson, like 100%. They had one episode where they brought Shania Twain in. I was like, I didn't even recognize her to begin with, honestly. I saw it in the credits and I'm like, no way, was that like the main chick that was trying to get together with the fucking boss or what? And yeah, because there was like a cruise ship for like singles night or something like that. Yeah, and yeah, I get the vibe. You know, they're every week's a different theme for like the cruise ship. I get the vibe, but yeah, it's just not interesting me. You know, I will probably still watch it till the end, but it's, you know, I'd have a hard time suggesting it, honestly. And then I left the best one for last, which is Monsters. So I want to say a while back I did this big video, but it was actually a member only video. So if you weren't a member of like my gaming channel, you didn't see it. but a while back I did a video on the Dahmer case, right? Because that's Monster that that was done. Ryan Murphy, I don't know if you know him, but he's so good. I watch so many of his shows. One of his major shows is, the American Horror Story, and yeah, fucking love that show. So good. But he's started doing murder type stuff, and so that started with Monster, which is the Dahmer case, and that was amazing. He played Dahmer, and he is so good, right? And I'm talking about a show I watched like a couple of years ago, but it makes sense once we get into the rest of this, right? So basically, I thought that's where that would end, but Monsters is like, there was Monster that was the Dahmer case, and now Monsters, which I saw the other day, and I was like, oh my God, I gotta watch that. I binged it all in one night. And that one is the Eric and Lyle Menendez case. And this one's always been an interesting case for me because I was like, I'm older, so I was actually in the world when all this happened. I was super young. I was only like maybe 10. But I remember all of that. I remember that murder being done by these two brothers, and it was always so weird of a case to me. It was super high profile because their dad was actually a pretty big deal in RCA records. So yeah, and Hertz, but more so like Hertz, Hertz. But RCA Records is such a big deal. He was signing like some pretty big people at that time. So he was kind of like, this was a celebrity case, right? And I remember back then my dad was a cop, and he was curious about it because that's how I knew about it when I was 10, right? Because 10-year-olds typically aren't like watching the news or anything. And he was really curious because he always thought it was them, right? He always, like from day one, he thought it was them. So no one really pinned it on them at the beginning. And it, watching it as the series goes, how did they not, right? Like they were spending money like nothing, and they were getting greedy. And the more I watched this series, I was like, you guys could have gotten away with it. As bad as that sounds, me saying that, but like, let's be real. They could have gotten away and escaped it completely. No one thought it was them. Months had gone by before anyone even suspected. And the only reason they got caught is because I believe it was Eric. Yeah. Eric started feeling guilty. They had been going to this psychiatrist like before even the murders. Their dad had made them start going because they did some robberies. So I guess they were always not great brothers. But they got caught because Eric started feeling guilty, told the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist was worried that he might get murdered by the brothers, so he told his mistress, and his mistress eventually told the cops. So like if they, yeah, I think back even after watching that show, I'm like, man, if he had just kept his mouth shut, you know, like on one hand, we might have had some serial killers on our hands, I guess, but if you were looking in, he could have gone away easily, easily. The cops were so stupid back then. Like the weapons were in the trunk of the car, and they didn't even check the trunk of the car. like hell, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Lyle had said, hey, I need something out of the trunk of my car. The cop said, okay, stood there while he grabbed the bag of weapons and walked away. like man, no wonder that time frame we had so many serial killers on the loose. Like if that's what, yeah. So yeah, that was a really good show. I was really interested in that one because it was one of those cases that was just so mysterious, I guess, because like you knew they did it, but was it really for the reason that they said, or was it not? You know, like it, it was really a tough call, and then there was like the OJ case, right? Because they had two trials. The first trial was like a mistrial, and then the OJ thing happened, and they, basically, in the lawyers' words, they needed a win, you know, and so OJ got off, and I always kind of suspected that that's really what did the Menendez brothers in, was not really whether they did it or not, but it was more that after the OJ thing, they needed to convict someone, like they yeah, and those two were the perfect suspects, right? So I think the biggest reason for the show right now is that they're up for parole, I guess. So yeah, they shouldn't be, but I guess some new evidence is like, what new evidence? Like, I'd love to know what that new evidence is. Like these many years later, like, they've been in there for what, 35 years already, something like that. Like, and that's all I got. So hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know if like talking about TV shows is like a lackluster video. I don't know. I just thought it'd be a cool topic today. You know, my bad if it's a lackluster video. I don't know. I'm just like doing whatever on this channel. I'm just kind of chilling. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. We'll catch you in the next one. I'll try to do something Halloween-y for the next one. I'll, don't hold me to it, but I'll do my best. Okay. See ya. Bye.